Hey all, it's John, aka Whiskey and Sound. So coming back at you with another Boilermaker Mondays, and I thought I would get into it's a bit of a collaboration beer, which is called the Black Sea. It's an Imperial Cherry Stout. So it's got sour cherries in it, apparently, and heaps of dark chocolate. So it's sitting at about 8.5%. Now this is a collaboration between the Mill Brewery and Bonehead Brewing as well. So very excited to try this beer. I love cherries, and more to the point, I love Laphroaig. As you can see, I've got Laphroaig here, I've got Laphroaig there, and also I have Laphroaig here. Now, this was their Cairdeas opening or the Cairdeas bottling that they've released this year, which is the Port and Wine Cask. I have not opened this yet, so I do not know what it's going to taste like. I've got a fair idea of what it's going to taste like, but I haven't had any sneaky drams prior, so I don't know what to expect with this particular dram. So I'm gonna crack this one open and see how that pairs back with this. Now, the Port and Wine Cask has been. So what does it say here? It was a marriage of fully matured second fill ruby port barracks and ex-bourbon barrels finished in red wine casks. So it's going to be quite a complex dram to say the least. So I'm hoping that with everything that's going on in that bottle, this bad boy is going to give it a different edge with the sour cherry. Now it may cool the sourness that you would pick up from the cherries. Also, the 8.5 ABV stout may just calm the storm that's happening with this bottle. Not too sure. It could go either way here, but I'm very intrigued to try it out. So I'm going to pour this bad boy up and see how we go. So let's have a look at this color. Black as the ace of spades. Look at that color. My goodness. That just spells rich. Please don't spill. Not bad. Don't move a muscle, John. It spilled. Oh well. It was good while it lasted. I'll let that one settle. And if you can hear anything in the background, it's because I've got two batshit crazy Siberian Huskies and a Shih Tzu running around chasing each other's tails. So that'll explain them in the background. If you hear any random noises, I don't house any demons, or they are fur demons, but yeah. Anyway, so all right, the Black Sea Imperial Cherry Stout. Here we go. Oh, that's thick. Heaps of dark chocolate. I get more of the cherries on the nose. Actually, no. You know what? I lie. The more that sits on the palate, then the more that comes through, actually, the sour cherries. Definitely get it more on the nose, but... Alright, cool. Now, the moment that I've definitely been waiting for is an excuse to crack open this bottle. It's been a surprise to quite a few people that I haven't cracked this open earlier. Well, in my bottles, I'll take my time with them. So I'll open them in my own luxury. I'll open them when there's a means for it. I tend to do that with whenever I've got people over. Obviously, COVID-19, stage 4. We're going to be in this one for a while. So guess what? I'm cracking open some bottles now. So... oh, that sound is orgasmic. All right. And I'm even going to put it in the Laphroaig Corpita nose and glass. So, really fanboying the Laphroaig today. And you know what? Why not? It's an epic drink. It's an epic whiskey. And that it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let this one sit in the glass for a bit too. I should have actually poured this before I started, but you know what? It's generally not how I roll, especially if I'm cracking up a new bottle. It was very last second that I was going to come up with this particular bottling. I wasn't too sure what I was going to pair this back with. So it's going to go either way. But you know what? Once again, that is the fun with doing Boilermakers. If it does go pear-shaped, I've got two separate drinks here that I'm going to enjoy. And I have a moth that's on my desk. Screw you. Move. Okay. All right, that's really starting to open up now. So just with that little bit of time in the glass, so I might do that little trick and give it some warm air time. People often look at me weird whenever I do this. I mean, like, there's a few of us that will do it. Just, I don't know, accelerates the process, I guess, with airing the dram in the glass. So yeah, and a lot more of that fruit now is starting to come through now. So I get salty plum jam, or get like, yeah, there's a few things I'm getting here actually. I'm gonna put this on my palette and pick this up and see what else translates as well. That's lovely and oily too. It's got some legs on this thing. All right, Stonjava. Mm. It is a big whiskey. That's a big whiskey. That's Cairdeas for you. Love that stuff. How I didn't open this sooner is beyond me. But anyway, lesson learnt. The second you get your hands on a Laphroaig Cairdeas, crack it open. Yeah. So a lot more of the briny notes are starting to come through, like the signature iodine that you pick up from Laphroaig, and what it's what it's known for as well. Which with other whiskies, you've got Bamor, you've got Kilhoman, Ardbeg, Lagavulin, and I'm not say that you won't notice a difference between them all, but you know straight off the bat it's an Isla, but you also know straight off the bat that it's a Laphroaig when you taste Laphroaig. And as Dan Woolley also once said to me as well, you never forget your first Laphroaig. And truer word has never been spoken. That's for sure. So, all right, let's put these things together properly. So I'm gonna go with a whiskey wash, and then I'm gonna go with a beer rinse. See what that does on the palate. So now that there's not a lot of peat that comes through on that nose, which is also pleasant. Like there is that real light smoky element, but now that it's had a bit of time in the glass, it's just pretty much a whole heap of fruit, which is awesome. Like heaps of like I pick up on peach. You know, there's plums there. Yeah, heaps of red fruit. Heaps of red fruit. Awesome. All right. Coating that palate real good and proper. I really like that whiskey. Okay, now beer rinse. See how this one goes. What did that do? That actually done something interesting. Actually, I was hoping it'd do it, I didn't think it'd do it, but it did it. Not that I'm down in Laphroaig, but it done it. It actually pulled the sour, like it pulled the cherries forward. So, it, yeah, I did want to make this Boilermaker in a way where I can add that extra fruit element to the already fruit bomb that's happening with this. So I'm glad that that's done that. And something as well with that stout is also like cooled the peat down a bit, or that pardon me, it cooled that smoky element down, which is awesome. It makes it a real easygoing, a very forgive me for saying the word whiskey enthusiast, but a real smooth and enjoyable drink. Or should we say that it's refined? There was a whiskey tasting that I went to the other day, and I know what it is. The whiskey snobs have a thing about putting whiskey and smooth in the same sentence together. Well, you know what? I'm going to be one of those guys where I don't like to consider myself a whiskey connoisseur or anything. I just really enjoy drinking whiskey, and I also enjoy drinking it with beer. So um, there's no right or wrong ways with drinking whiskey in my books. I mean, whether you mix it with Coke or mix it with dry or mix it whatever, mix it with Mountain Dew, which apparently that whiskey was the primary focus on Mountain Dew being made back in the day as a whiskey mixer. Well, you do what you want with your whiskey. You pay for it. You're entitled to do whatever. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. And yeah, um, it's got a real nice finish. This Boilermaker. This is awesome. All right, so let's try a beer wash and then a whiskey rinse again. Now that I've had the both on the palate, it's probably gonna do a lot more with the palate this time around. So let's change it back. Man, that is such a thick and rich beer. That is no joke. Seriously, no joke. Enjoyable, but it's yeah. You'll have to take your time with it. That's for sure. That's just definitely one of those real thick stouts. So she's not a light one. It is an Imperial Stout, so that was to be expected. Truth be told. Oh, the nose on this is beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The salt, that briny element, the iodine's there. Not as much peat. So that definitely, this definitely, takes out any like any major hit from the peat that you'll usually get, but the rest of the elements are there. Um, Definitely the when you have the whiskey first and you have the beer afterwards, the fruit stays around, which is scrumptious. When you go beer first and then whiskey on this particular pairing, um, it's definitely all about the Laphroaig, and it's not just the fact that that's the last thing that's on the pellet, but there have been some pairings where the beer's been the standout with. Sorry, this moth is just doing major laps around here, and it's only a little one, but it's enough to piss you off. Anyway, it's behind the computer. Hopefully, it stays there. No, it's right in front of me. Get out of here. Um, there have been some stouts that have, really just taken over the whole Boilermaker. In one shot. Like whether you go beer first and then whiskey afterwards, or whiskey first and then beer afterwards, beer is the standout. Now I mean, Laphroaig is a big whiskey. So if you've got it has to be an even bigger beer to try to, I won't say overpower it, but to try to tame it. This seems to be taming the Laphroaig quite well. So, which was the goal, essentially. Now, what element it was going to give it, whether it give it more fruit or whether it back off, some of the peat, or maybe calm down the saltiness or whatever. But either way that you take this pairing, it's actually really nice. So I'm glad I put these two together. It's, yeah, beautiful pairing. All right, so without any further ado, the Black Sea Imperial Cherry Stout by both the Mill Brewery and Bonehead Brewing. And I think whiskey and element for this one, because when I was rating their beer selection, they picked up. This was one of the ones I believe that they got their hands on. So big shout out to whiskey and element and Laphroaig Cairdeas 2020 Port and Wine Cask finish. What a pairing! This has actually been really nice. So I had every right to bring out the glass and to be sporting the t-shirt, because I had all the faith in the world that this was going to go really well, and I wasn't going to go raiding my cabinet for another whiskey. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I could pair this beer back with quite a few whiskies that I'm thinking, okay, it's definitely one that you could use this more as um, a cutting compound for your Boilermaker. You know, or a cutting element, I should say, not a cutting compound, cutting element, because it's such a big beer. There's a lot happening with it as far as the richness and texture that it's got, that it will calm down anything that you think may be a bit too in your face, whether it's a hot whiskey or something. Um, then this will tame down any beast, which is good. So it definitely lived up to its name. So cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little review, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this Boilermaker. So I will see you all next week for another episode of Boilermaker Mondays. Please like, share, subscribe, and support, and give me your feedback, honest feedback. I'm a grown man. I will take any brutal, honest feedback that you throw at me. So whether you say, John, you need to try doing this a bit more, or maybe back off doing this so much, try doing this, whatever. I am all ears, because at the end of the day, I'm enjoying these Boilermakers on camera, but I'm doing this for you all to appreciate. So any way that it's going to be enjoyable for you all, I'm all ears. Let me know. Thanks for all those that have been viewing my episodes and giving me the feedback to date. That's been truly appreciated, and it's also been stuff that I've been taken on board as well as of recent. So thanks for all those that have given me any feedback. It's truly appreciated and always welcomed. So stay tuned. Next episode, next Monday. See you at the same time, 7 o'clock.